So all that this book and the essence of Vedanta is, whatever you are concerned about, whatever you are wanting to get rid of it, all of them are born out of your identification with the shadow. You are that light. Nothing can run over you. Vehicles can run over the shadow. You are not affected by anything that happens outside you. The shadow is formed because the light reflects through the vasanas. How were these vasanas formed? Because if you were getting involved with appearances, which are in fact the truth only split into many forms as it passes through this causal body, like one ray of light passing through the prism. One ray of light passing through the prism gets split. So you have to turn your attention from the forms to the source of the forms. You should not learn like this, what I am teaching. I have to teach like this, but you have to learn it differently. What do you mean by that? You have to learn that whatever sorrows you are facing themselves are a confusion. I think I am the body, I think I am the mind, and all problems belong to the body, mind, or intellect. This is the first lesson we give in Vedanta. But can you change the truth after years? Whether it is first lesson or second lesson, truth is the same. Sun rises in the east. After 100 years, you have to teach sun rises in the west. Is it possible? Similarly, the truth is the same. You are that essential, immortal, blissful, conscious reality. You have to turn your attention from the shadow, which is formed by your trying to identify with the forms born out of you only, like the sun when it passes through a trellis. You seem to see various rays of light according to the holes. Similarly, you passing through these vasanas, because vasanas are many. Vasanas are many, varied. So this consciousness, when it passes through them, according to each vasana, it gets shattered, like the sun passing through the trellis will get split according to the type of holes. One may be square, one may be round, one may be a star, right? So the same light passing through these vasanas gets split into various forms, and you think those forms are other than you. And now you yourself, imagining yourself to be split and different, want security, you think that by trying to associate with those outside forms, you can gain security and happiness. So you run after. As you run and run and run, the shadow also will run. If you want to catch the shadow, simply lie down. So if you want to catch this light, what do you do when you lie down? Just lie down on the shadow means you reverse and fall on that. Same thing, you reverse yourself from this objective world and try to fall with that light. All this also looks little technical, difficult and all that. We have no other way to explain this. At least I don't know to make it even simpler than this. But when you really practice, these are very simple. When I'm talking, you see, it seems to be there are a lot of technical words and all that. Nothing. They are very, 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 very simple. But to explain this being a subtle truth, there is no other way. There is no other way. So you have to do your introspection, your contemplation, and when you try to see what is said in your own experience, you find they are simple. They are very simple, not as difficult as it is expressed as. So now, there is, in these, there are two things. One, withdraw from the forms. Two, identify with the self. Why were the forms formed? Because you have a value for that. So, in the practice, you're being told don't have any value for the world. Very, very important topic I am discussing. You were told if you have a value for the outside world, that value binds you. That's the very value that gives you sorrow. So do not have any value for the outside world. Now, two problems arise out of this. I have to transact with the outside world. How will I transact without having a value for it? One problem. I have to anyway transact with that only. Second problem, withdrawing from that, from these forms, where do I get my inspiration, my happiness? I withdraw from that, but where do I get my inspiration for my happiness? Third problem, the very withdrawal is negative. Withdrawal is negative. Not this, not this, not this. So half of my life is spent on negating, rejecting. That itself is a friction. That itself is a friction. Not this, not this. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm not the mother-in-law, I'm not the father-in-law. Right? I'm not the daughter-in-law. Right? Go on negating. It's a friction. So, how to relate with all without having a value? And where do I get my inspiration? And how do I get out of this friction of negating? Right? All this is made simple, practical, pleasant by one principle. This split world is the one that is giving you problems, so you are asked to withdraw. Each having a different value, therefore you become dependent on one and reject the other. Now, if you can see only that one truth or yourself on that, in spite of the split world, you experience the one truth. When you do not recognize all is water, the wave, the bubble, etc., their birth, their death affects you. But wave is born, wave dies, death is born, bubble is born, bubble dies. When you see the wave and the bubble, then you were told, you have to say, I am not the wave, that form, I am not this bubble, this form. Neti, neti. Then these three questions come. Supposing a simple answer is given, recognize you are the water in the wave, you are the water in the bubble, you are the water in the ocean. All these three questions disappear. Because you are only one. So you have to see yourself to be the essence of the wave, the bubble, the ocean, etc. For that, primary requisite is you have to recognize in the wave the water first, then see the same water in all. Similarly, feel the consciousness in you, and then see the same consciousness which is existence is the truth of all. See the consciousness and existence in you, and then see the same consciousness and existence in all. In this, what happens? The negative aspect is gone. The dependence on particular things have gone because everything is one. And because it's all you, you enjoy every transaction. You are inspired. There are no challenges. There is no outsider. There is no fear. It's only you everywhere. It's only you everywhere. So this is the simplest clue. This is called seeing yourself in all. You are the essence of all. Sanskrit, all, sarva, essence, atma, seeing, bhava. Sarvatma bhava is the solution for the tyranny of this multiplicity. This duality, this multiplicity is a tyrannical one. Sarvatma bhava is the solution in which your negative life ends. Otherwise, every time you have to say, this world is Maya, this is unreal, this is not me, this is not. It's a negative way of living. See God in all. See God in all. Some people ask me how to see God in mother-in-law and father-in-law. I can see in all, but how can I see in mother-in-law and father-in-law? Array, they have come to you so that you become independent of them. You become independent of them. God sent them to you. So it is the same God that came in the form of mother-in-law and father-in-law. So that is how to see God. In sorrow, in problem, in pain, see only God. Because He comes in those forms to liberate you from being attached to one and being, resisting the other. Attached to one, resisting the other. So He only comes in many forms to liberate you from the constant struggle of attachment and revulsion. He only comes. So see Him only. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, all are God only. Then I take whatever they give. No. Know that. Then transactional, whatever you have to do, you do. Understand that. Transactionally, you do because He has given you an intellect. He has given you an intellect. Right? I told this joke in my physical class. Now I don't have time to explain, but I'll tell the joke. Ichivam achivattai chivachuva. Achivam ichivattai pada. Ichivam achivat, sorry. Ichivam achivattai chivasiva. Achivam ichivattai sivasiva. Ichivam achivattai pada. Achivam ichivattai pada. I scolded him, he scolded me. I bet him, he bet me. But in all through, I see only Shiva. I see only Shiva. Okay. This is the simple thing that is going on now and the subject matter of today's slokas. Main thing is you get into fear because of the duality. Duality is caused by your extrovertedness. Turn your attention inside and see Sarvatma Bhava. Having known yourself, see yourself everywhere. This is the crux of today's class, all 30 slokas. And this is said in Kathopanishad, Paranchikani Vetrinat Swayam Bhuhu. Param Pashyati na Antaratman. The Creator has cursed the senses to be extrovert, and therefore they don't see the subject inside. Kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikchati amritatvam icchan. Some brave one, intelligent one, turns his attention to the pratyagatma, the Atman inside. Amritatvam icchan, wanting immortality. Okay, that's all. Now I'll finish the 30 verses. Because I told what all I had to tell. Now only I had to rush through and finish. Yeah, this negation is taken up in 250. No, 250. No, sorry, something wrong. Yeah.
320.
320. Thank you. You didn't call me 420. Yeah, 320. Drishyam pratitam pravilapayantam pravilapayansan sanmatramanandaganam vibhavayan samahitaha san bahihi amtaram va kalam mayetha sati karma bande. Even if you get knowledge, this karma bandha, prarabdha will be there. After knowledge also, prarabdha will be there. But this person, while going through the prarabdha, is like the beautiful example our Paramaguru says, you are bathing in Ganges. Below the waist it's cool. Above the waist, heat of the sun. Half this, half that. You don't mind that, enjoying the bath. And if the sun is little hot, you dip into that. Similarly, this Jnani going through prarabdha, he is inside and little exposed outside. Little exposed outside. If the outside is too much, he dips inside. Outside is too much, he dips inside. That's how the prarabdha is finished off. After the body is cast off for Jnani, there is no prarabdha. This prarabdha, till the body is there, is programmed because it's connected with others. It's connected with others. So even if you get jnana, you are programmed to torture many. That has to go through. Your torturing others has to go through. Why? You got liberated because others tortured you. Now you have to pay Guru Dakshina. You torture others and let them get liberated. Okay. So prarabdha will continue. Why? Because it is prakarabdha. The example is an arrow left thinking it's a tiger cannot be called back when you recognize it's a cow. The arrow is left. The arrow is left. So this is prakarabdha. It has to go through that process. Sanchita karma is gone for Jnani, Agami goes, but prarabdha will be there till he casts off this body, but he is far above it. It cannot really affect him. It cannot really affect him. That is why Sri Ramana Bhagavan got operated without anesthesia. They are far above. All our gurus were like that. The way in which they had gone through their disease, cheerfully, joyously, they have all gone beyond the body consciousness. So that's what will happen to this Gnani. So he says, completely withdrawing from external, internal perceptions, identifying with Sanmatram Anandaganam, pure existence bliss, kalam nayedha. You spent your rest of the life karma bande through the prarabdha karma. In this, you got knowledge, all right, but little prarabdha is there, all right. But that knowledge still, there are certain vasanas there. So you have to be alert. Even if you get knowledge, one slight extrovertedness is enough to finish you off. One slight extrovertedness will take you step by step. The example will come later. Like the ball that has fallen on the steps will only rest when it touches the ground. We had the story of several Dhyanis, Vishwamitra. With all sincerity, he went to meditate. Menaka came, then the Trishanku came, right? And all this one by one distracted him. Kama, Krodha. Started with Lobha, wanted the Kamadhenu, Surabhi. Right? So it's a process. It's not an overnight job to tackle these vasanas. In that process, you have to be alert, vigilant. One slip is enough. If you see all accidents, from today you start seeing, they're all just one slip, one wink, one wrong calculation. Several people die. Just one wrong calculation. All our problems are like that. Major problems that you and I get, major problems can be solved because you have planned something, in that something else has come, that can be maneuvered. It is these things that you are not conscious of, you are not planned. When they come, you sink. Do you know, because I've been noticing them because of the spiritual aspect. In T Nagar, one fellow, this is not done normally, but that fellow was in a bad mood, gave the money and put his hand into the jar to take something. That fellow hit him, this fellow dies. Can this be a reason for somebody to die? Simple things. Balaramaji was going through Naimisharanya. He just saw Suta addressing the rishis. He thought, what is this? Suta sitting up and all the rishis sitting down. In a flash, he cut off his throat. And then everybody says, we have only given him that seat. So all these things happen through small errors, major things, small errors. Many divorces. Somebody said the truth, you are a fool, they are divorced. Right. Somebody snoring, divorced. Right? So you have to be alert, vigilant in this process. That is the next topic. Pramado brahmanishtayam na kartavya kadachana pramado mrutyuhu iti aha bhagavan brahmana sutaha Sanat Kumaras said, pramada is mrityu, inadvertentness, carelessness is death. Sanat Suja, that is our Dhritarashtra, was nervous. What's going to happen? So he asked Vidura. Vidura has given him the Vidura Niti. He still wanted something. So Vidura said, I will through my tapas bring Sanat Kumaras, they will give you. This thing is high Vedanta. Sanat Kumaras, this is called Sanat Sujatiya in Mahabharatam. It's so important. Sri Shankara, who has commented only on Prasthanatrayas and written all his original works, commented on this Sanat Sujatiya. Very lovely book. So in that it says, pramada, inadvertentness is death. How? You must listen carefully. How? Pramada is death. Turn your attention inside. You recognize you are the self, immortal. Focus out. You see yourself to be mortal. Simple, Focus in, immortal. Focus out, mortal. Why the focus out comes to the forgetfulness of focusing in? Pramada, carelessness. Pramada, carelessness. So you have to be alert not to allow your mind to be extrovert, ignoring this consciousness, this bliss, this truth, this God in you. Always keep your mind on that and act like the mother, whatever she is doing, taking bath or in the kitchen or going to office, never for a split second forgets the child. So also you should never ignore the Lord. Na pramadat anartho anyo jnaninaha swaswarupataha tato mohaha tato aham dhihi tato bandhaha tato vyatha. Pramada, due to this carelessness, you turn out externally, then you get deluded, moha. After that comes this, I am this BMI, ahankara. After this bondage, depending on the external world, after that, all your agitations, vyatha. So all that starts with focusing out, which starts out due to carelessness. Vishayabhimukam društva vidvan samapi vismrutihi vikshepayati dhi doshai yosha jaramiva priyam. Just like the paramour disturbs the mind of the other fellow, these vishayas disturb your mind. And even if you are a very knowledgeable, enlightened man, even if you are a knowledgeable, enlightened man, for a split second, if you forget this self, you are tortured by this world. Do you have an example? Sitamma was tuned to Rama, completely serving him. Lakshmana, the Vairagya, got him. And she, for a split second, was carried away by the golden deer. That cost her very dear. She has abandoned Vairagya, Lakshmana, and become a slave to the 10-headed monster, the Ravana, the senses, 10-headed monster. Why? In a split second, her attention turned away from Rama to the deer. So we have examples. Yatha prakrushtam shaivalam ksanamatram matisthati avrunute tata maya prajnam vapi parankham. Just as the mass on water, you push it off. The moment you take off your head, it again comes back. So also, this delusion, illusion, ignorance, if you are careless for a split second, you turn your attention from God, again, like the mass on the water comes back, this will also come back. Lakshachyutam chedyati chittamishad bahirmukham sannipate tatastataha pramadataha prachuta keli kandukaha sopanapanto patito yatha yatatha sopanapanto. And the row of steps, the ball that has fallen on the first step, if you don't catch on the first step, it will come and land on the ground, passing through various steps. Similarly, your mind falling on one object, goes to the other object, goes to the other object, get destroyed. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangaha teshu upajayate. 62, 63 of second chapter, Gita. Vishayeshu avishat chetaha sankalpayati tad gunam. Samyak sankalpanat kamaha Kamat Pumsaha Pravartanam. When the mind focuses to the objects, desires, imaginations, all agitations start. That's all called sankalpa. Go on thinking about those qualities. And after that, you desire, you want it. And after that desire, it makes you run after them, and it makes you a slave and make you a machine to run after them. All started with where? Your mind tuned to the object. Why your mind turned away from the self. Tataha swarupa vibhramshu vibrastastu patatyataha patitasya vinanasham punar punaha punaha aroha ichyate. The same thing that Sthita Prajna is repeated. After that, your identity with self is gone and then completely destroyed, and again you start trying to rise. Sankalpam varjayet tasmat. Therefore, completely renounce desire. Sarva anarthasya karanam. This is the cause of all anartha, means catastrophes. Apatyanihi vastuni vyadigrastu yatha usruje. Just as a deceased person, a person with disease, has to cast off apatyam, not suitable for his health. They do not go with the medicines. Just as he has to cast off those things, you have to cast off your identification with these objects. Ataha pramadan na paro asti mrityuhu vekno brahmavedaha samadho samahita siddhim upayiti samyak samahitatma bhava savadanaha. The man who has a controlled, collected mind turned towards the self is immortal. The other man, because of his carelessness, he sees death everywhere because he sees the changing phenomena. When the mind is focused out, he sees the changing phenomena, BMI, therefore he experiences death. When the mind is focused in, he sees the self, he experiences immortality. जीवतो यस्य कैवल्यं विदेहे स च केवलः यत्किंचित् तपश्यतो भेदं भयं ब्रूते यजुः श्रुतिः. Yajurveda says, Dvayad bhavati bhayam. If you see duality, there is fear, because duality means finiteness. Finite nature naturally has a beginning and an end. If there are two, there are boundaries. If there are boundaries, they are finite. If they are finite, subject to death. That's because of seeing duality. You see duality because you do not see the one in them. And this man who is liberated from this persecution of duality, even while living, after casting of this body, remains as the one essence, Kevala, behind all. Remains as the one essence, Kevala, behind all. Yada kada vapi vipaschidesha brahmani anantepi anumatra bhedam pashyati yatha amushya bhayam tadaiva yad vikshitam bhinnataya pramada. This has already been said. That is, even a little carelessness will destroy you because of your identification with the changing phenomena. Shruti, Smruti, Nyaya, Chetaihi, Nisiddhe, Drushyaha, Atra, Yaha, Swatmamati Karoti, Upaiti, Dukkopari Dukkajatam, Nisiddhakarta, Sa Malim Rucho, Yata. Yada, just as a thief does a prohibitive action, has to repent, so also a person who has ignored the words of the Srutis and the Smritis goes from and then gets involved with these senses, goes from one dukkha to other dukkha. Normally, we are told the world is from sukha to dukkha, sukha to dukkha. No. He says, what you think is sukha is also dukkha. Therefore, he says, you go from dukkha to dukkha. Satyabhisandhanarato vimuktaha mahattattvamatmiya upaiti nityam mityabhisandhanatastu nashyeda drushta tadetad yada chora achorayohu. The difference between a thief and a not thief. The difference between a wise man and an unwise man or otherwise man is what he aligns with. If he aligns with the changing phenomena, he experiences death and is a chora, thief. If he aligns with the self, he experiences immortality, he is not a thief. There's a beautiful verse in Bhagavatam. Vishayan dhyayata chittam Vishayeshu sajjate. The mind that contemplates on senses gets attached to it. Mam dhyayata chittam Mameva viliyate. The mind that contemplates on me merges into me. The same mind, if it gets involved with objects, it gets their finite nature. If it is identifies with the self, it becomes the self. Yatihi asadanasandhi bandhahetum vihaya swayam ayam aham asmi aham asmi itya atma drushyeva tishchet. Yatihi, the one who is striving for this emancipation, knowledge, should withdraw from all the sources of bondage, the dependence on the external world, and depend only on his self. He should rest in this self. Sukhayati nanu nishta brahmani swanubhutya harati parama avidya karya dukkam pratitam. Other than this being getting established in your own self, there is no other solution to get out of this sorrow of the world of objects. The world of objects, whether you are sensitive, you are not sensitive, that's a different matter. It has nothing but sorrow. So if you do not turn your attention and rest on this self, that's bound to bind you, take you to the end of sorrow. Brahma Bhakyamanusandhihi parivatyayet phalam durvasanameva tatastato adhikam natva viveke parihritya bhakyam tvatmanusandhi vidadati nityam. These two go together. Gurudev says, somebody asked, give me Vedanta in a nutshell. He said, attach, detach. Or detach, attach. You have to detach from world of names and forms. How will you do? Attach to the self. They cannot go in isolation. Detachment with the world outside can only happen when you are attached to the self. So this is what you have to do. Tune to the self and get detached from the world outside. After some time, see the same self in all. Sarvatma Bhava. Seeing the same self in all. Bahye niruddhe manasa prasannata manaprasade paramatma darshanam tasmin sudushte bhavandanasha bahir nirodha padavi vimukyai. In sleep, why are you peaceful? No disturbance. Because your mind is not aware of the external world. So what causes sorrow? Your mind turning towards the external world. So all your sorrows are because of the mind that turns outward, misses the self, becomes insecure, depends upon external things. So this is the cause. Why is he repeating so much? So that at least it will go once into us. If it goes once, it's enough. But our attachment to world is so much, we don't allow it to go even once. So it's going on repeating. Sometime, by accident, it can get inside. Panditaha san sadasad viveki sruti pramanaha paramattadarshi janan hi kuryad asato valambam swapata hetoho shishuvan mumukshu. Who, knowing something kills you, will take that as poison, as medicine, the poison as medicine. Knowing that it is poison, it will kill. So other people do not know that the world will kill. You are a Pandita. You know that it is Anatma, your Atma. After that also, you become childish. You depend on the external world. You depend on the external world. Many people say, I am not able to do my sadhana because of the external situation, family situation, business situation. If everything is all right, family, business, why do you need sadhana? You need sadhana only when they are not all right. God made them not all right only for you to do sadhana, so that you can rise above them. You have to rise above them. So you need them. God provided you. And you say, when things are all right, I will do. It's not possible and it's not necessary. Dehadi samsakti mato namuktihi muktasya dehadyavi abhimatya bhavaha suptasya no jagaranam na jagrita swapna tayohi bhinna gunasrayatvat. Again, Tita Prajna portion. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyam yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato muni. What is day to an ignorant man is a night to the wise man. What is night to the wise man is a day to the ignorant man. Means the world that the ignorant man is aligned, aware of, tuned to. This man is not aware of that. He has turned away from it. The bliss of ocean of bliss this man is experiencing, that man doesn't experience. He gains the joy from some objects, Vishayananda. This person gains Paramananda. For one who is turned to Vishayananda, Paramananda is not possible. For one who turns to Paramananda, has no value for Vishayananda. Antarbahishwam Thirajangameshu Gnatva Atmanadharataya Vilokya Tyakta Akilopadi Akanda Rupaha Purnatmanaya Sita Eva Muktaha. There is a cup in our room. There is a pot in our room. This room is there. Then outside it, there is a hall. What are all these? Break the cup. What happened to the space in that? Has merged with the other space. Where was the cup before it was broken? It was in the space only. Inside, outside, all space only. It appears it has divided the space. It has never divided the space. It is not possible. That's why when the walls are broken, you see the one distinct. Cup is broken, that space merged with the pot space. Pot is broken, That space merges with the room space. Room is broken. That space merges with the house space. Whole house is broken. The space in the house merges with the total space. So it is this upadis, conditionings, that makes the space as though limited. Similarly, this body, mind, intellect, these are the upadis, walls, makes the self, the infinite, immortal, appear as though it is conditioned. Sarvatmaka. So the main clue now we have started from the last verse is see the one space in all. Then you are not affected by anything that happens in space. The pot broken, the cup broken, room broken. You can build a modern house if you see the one space. Similarly, in all the external world of objects, people, and experiences, see the one God in all, so that you do not have attraction to some, aversion to some. You will neither be attracted to some, you will neither have aversion to some. Leave this attraction and aversion, raga, dvesha. There is no mind. Where there is no mind, there is bliss as you experience in sleep. In sleep, there is no mind, you experience bliss. Raga dvesha comes of seeing plurality. Eliminating plurality is to see the one in all, sarvatma bhava. सर्वात्मता बंधु विमुक्त हेतु सर्वात्म भावान्न परो अस्ति कच्चिति दृश्यामहे सति सति उपपद्यते असौ सर्वात्म भावो अस्य सदात्मनिष्ठया. So this sarvatma bhava alone is the solution. There is no other solution. Clearly says here, clearly says in Bhagavatam also. In Bhagavatam, here says the ultimate in spiritual living is to see the one and all, Sarvatma Bhava. So both our Gurudev says and Paramaguru also says, what is the highest state of knowledge? To see God in all, universal love, universal service. Because God is not different from the universe. Universal love, universal service. That's the most positive way of living the spiritual science. And that's the highest. That is the realization. So Sarvatma Bhava we have to develop. Drishyasya agrahanam katam nu gateta dehatmana tishtato bhakyartha anubhava prasakta manasaha मनसः तत् क्रिया कुर्वतः संन्यस्त अखिल धर्म कर्म विषयैः नित्य आत्मनिष्ठा परैः तत्त्वज्ञैः करणीयम् आत्मनि सदा नन्देच्छुभि यत्नतः. Same thing is raising the problem little more. Is making us realize. You ask, how is it possible? Well, during my challenges in life, various activities I had to do, various people I had to meet. How can I maintain this Sarvatma Bhava? He says, by constantly remembering the self in you. There is no other way. Remember the self in you and transact in the outside world using your intellect. You should not miss sight of this self in you, Atmanishta. With Atmanishta only, Sarvatma Bhava is possible. With Sarvatma Bhava, mind ends. Where mind ends, there is liberation. Sarvatma Siddhaye Bhikshuhu Kruta Sravana Karmanaha Samadhi Vidhadat Yeshaha Shanto Danta iti Srutihi. For one who has gained this Sarvatma Bhava through Sravana Manana Nididhyasa, etc., that sannyasi, he he gets released from all bondages. Sarvatma Bhava, Samadhi, both are same. Samadhi means see mind resting on the same state. The mind not seeing duality, nirvikalpa. That is Samadhi. Sarvatma Bhava also is same. Ashab आरूढ़ शक्ति अहमो विनाशः कर्तुं न शक्यः सहसापि पंडितैः न निर्विकल्पाख्य समाधि निश्चला निश्चलाः तान् अंतरा अनंत भावा हि वासनाः. Due to these endless vasanas, you have the vikalpas, and without renouncing these vikalpas, I will explain that word to you, right? Without trying to get away from these vikalpas and attain the nirvikalpa samadhi, trying to destroy the ego is impossible, because ego is fattened by so many perceptions, notions, and therefore Arudha Shakti, that power of the ego has become too strong. You cannot destroy it without the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This Nirvikalpa Samadhi, a lot of people have their own opinions. Mostly they think it's a state of no thought. That is possible in meditation. If no thought is the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, sleep is the best. There is no thought. So, real Nirvikalpa Samadhi, no thought. But you are conscious, there is no thought. You are conscious, there is no thought. And also, even then you get it through yoga, practice of yoga, Hatha Yoga. The mind is not lost. There is no mano nasha. Mind is not destroyed. There is only mano laya. Mind has become dormant, like in sleep. But samadhi happens only when the mind is destroyed, not when the mind is dormant. Mano nasha. Mano nasha can only happen through vichara, through inquiry, through knowledge, through wisdom, seeing the one and all. So, nirvikalpa samadhi has to be understood. Vikalpa means doubt. Nirvikalpa, no doubt. Vikalpa means agitation. Nirvikalpa, no agitation. Vikalpa, plurality. Nirvikalpa, no plurality. So, Nirvikalpa Samadhi can be had, should be had, even when you see the plurality. You don't have any doubt in that. You see the same one. That is the real Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which is called Sahaja Samadhi, natural state of Samadhi. That's called Sahaja Samadhi. Aham buddhyaiva mohinya yodayitva avruter balate vikshepa shaktihi purusham vikshepayati tad gunaihi. This mind, this ego, tuned to the objects, is agitated by their qualities, and thereafter you cannot gain peace. Vikshepa shaktihi vijayo vishamo vidatum nisheshamavarana shaktihi nivrutta bhave drusyayoho sputapayo jalavad vibhage nashye tadavaranamatmanai cha swabhavat nissamshayena bhavati pratibandha sunyo vikshepana nahi tada yadi chen prusharthe. To get out of this savarana and vikshepa cycles, what you have to do is continuous inquiry into nitya, anitya, druk, drishya, seer and the seen. All that is seen belongs to the objective world. All that is seen is not you. All that is seen is changing. The seer is not changing. So practice the seer seeing. Agitated, you see the agitation, not you. Pain, you see the pain, not you. Humiliation, you see that, not you. Whatever is seen is not you. You are the seer. This constant awareness of Druk Drish is the highest meditation. Samyak Vivekah Putabodajanyo Vibhajya Drugdrushya Padartha Tattvam Chinatti Maya Kritamoha Bandham Paramad Yasmad Vimuktasya Punaha Na Samsrutihi. You should not again and again come back to this miserable, limited, finite, bound self. You have to constantly, without any doubt, nirvikalpa, be aware that you are that self. Once that is firm, you can never again think you are the ego, individual. So all that we need is to practice this. I am the self. I am not this BMI. This is all you have to do. This is the first lesson. This is the last lesson. Paravaraikatva viveka vakni dehatya vidya gahanam yasesham kim syat punaha samsaranasya bijaha advaita bhavam samupe yushe asya. Once you get this knowledge, this fire burns off all ignorance. And once somebody gains this knowledge, after that, what is there for him to come back? There is no reason. You make a shopping list. 20 items. Go from shop to shop, tick off one by one. 20 is over. After that, why you go to another shop? You come with a list here, vasanas. You have exhausted them. After that, you don't come back. Avaranasya nivrittihi bhavati samyak padartha darshanatah mitya gnana vinashaha tad vikshepa janita dukkha nivrittihi. Mithya gnana, the false knowledge, the dukkha born out of that are all because avarana and consequent vikshepa. Avarana is confusion, ignorance. Vikshepa is also misconception. All will go only with the right knowledge. Samyak darshana, right knowledge. Yetat tritayam drushtam samyak grajju swarupa vijnanat tasmad vastuhu tattvam gnatavyam baddha muktaye vidusha. These three, avarana, vikshepa and dukkha, they all come out of ignorance and can end with knowledge. And with that, you are depending on the external world goes. That's called mukti. Mukti is not 7th floor, 8th floor like that. Mukti is freedom from your own mind. Your mind gets bound through its values outside. When you gain this knowledge, you see only that everywhere. You have no limitations. You have no bondage. Ayo Agni Yoga Diva Sat Samanvaya Sat Swamayan Matra Dirupena Vijrumbate Dihi Tatkarya Metad Vitayam Yato Vrusha Drushtam Brahmas Swapna Manoratheshu Tato Vikaraha Prakritihi Aham Mukhaha Deha Vasana Vishayasta Sarve Chene Anyatha Bhavitaya Yamisha asat asatvamatma kadapi nanyata. This false knowledge, this erroneous knowledge, misconception, vikshepa comes out of your ignorance of the self avarana. All that starts with the feeling that I am this body. And you are trying to gain vasanas through your association with perceptions, the external world of objects. This is all the cause. The cause is perception of the world outside and to believe that you are the body, mind, intellect, which conceals the self, and thereafter you gain all sorts of sorrows. So that is it. We will see another 27 slokas next week, and with that I will get liberation. Right? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all. God bless you all.